Hey, it's Justin Pautonnier here on the Mixed Morning Grind. We're showcasing our Heartland tour today, and the tour stop is at a place that is very special to my heart. We're talking about my hometown of Morinville, Alberta, and I've got a special guest on to talk about a real community leader, a lady who has been involved in the community for many years, and I've known her for many years as well. We're talking about Nicole Boutestein, councillor for the city of Morinville. Nicole, how are you?
I'm very good, Justin. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Not only that, but deputy mayor as well, right?
Yeah, it's my time. So every counselor on for the town gets an 8-month term, and this is mine.
So everybody's rotating.
Everybody rotates. Yeah, it's a great way to kind of step up to the plate and chair some meetings. So I love it. Absolutely love it.
So let's talk about your start in Morinville. We were just talking, it's been over 40 years now that you've been in town. I don't know how that's possible because I thought you were 39. So
You are just amazing.
No, so let's talk about how you eventually arrived in Morinville. What's your Morinville story?
So my Morinville story is, so when I was 8 in grade 3, my parents chose Morinville. We actually moved from Busby. So big move.
You're in a bigger town.
Yeah. Born from a little town of Busby to, at the time when Morinville was just a small town, which would have been 44 years ago. Absolutely love it. Grew up here. Both my kids were raised in Morinville. So got that, grounded our roots here in town. So
for sure. And obviously a big part of the conversation this morning will be the growth of Morinville, because it has grown leaps and bounds in a lot of ways over the years. But from your time when you first came, from what you have as far as the memory goes of your elementary, junior high days, what do you remember Morinville being like at that time?
You know what? Residential wise, we've grown leaps and bounds. Business wise, slow start, but we are playing catch up right now and doing a fantastic job with that. But really, from the time I can recall to actually today, right now as we're speaking, I mean, you grew up in Morinville as well. It's the residents. It's that community feel that was there years ago, that is there today, and will hopefully still be with us tomorrow. It's a bedroom community, if some call it like that, and I am thrilled about it. Thrilled to be in this community where you still feel safe, where you can actually walk outside and not lock your doors, which some people should. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're being naive, but it is that it's the safety of being in this small town where, in fact, we could tomorrow apply to be a city because we're over 10,000 people. So it has grown, but again, like I said earlier, it's still the camaraderie of knowing every neighbor around you. And you go to Sobeys or No Frills, wherever you go in town, you're always running into someone that you know. It's not a 5-minute trip to get groceries, it's a 20-minute trip to get groceries.
Well, that's always a kind of a funny thing, is because when you would go downtown to Main Street or to Sobeys or wherever you were going, you would have to allot a little bit of extra time because you knew that you were going to run into someone and you were going to have a 10, 20, 30-minute conversation, maybe even go for coffee.
Exactly. And it hasn't changed. So 10 years ago, that was the case. And still today, that's the case. And that's what makes Morinville and a great community to live in.
So you still, obviously I'm coming back, like I'm back into the area now after being away for a little bit too long. You still notice that same flavors there?
Definitely. And like I said, I sure hope that we don't change. From what I see right now, new residents moving in. We have a new neighbor actually that moved in last year, just before Christmas, and they are fantastic. Love every minute of being in Morinville. And they were from St. Albert, and he's actually from Nova Scotia. So they're they love it here. They got 2 small kids and said that they would never live anywhere else now that they've been here for a year, and able to kind of see what the community has to offer.
Well, and we see that a lot more too these days, is people notice, okay, the house prices maybe a little bit more reasonable in Morinville. It's still very close to Edmonton. You can still commute every day. There's a lot of those St. Albert, Sherwood Park, Edmonton families moving there for that very reason, that they get to raise their kids in just a bit of a different way.
For sure. You've got the small town feel, but like you said, you're 7 minutes from Morinville to the north end of St. Albert. So you are literally at Costco and in the parking lot within 10 minutes if you need some of those big ticket items, where you can still do your local shopping and support our economy here in town.
So that's an interesting part too, is that as far as businesses go in Morinville, how has the response been as we're kind of climbing now out of COVID? Is it a slow build, or are you seeing people, business owners, throw a lot of money at going right back at it?
I think it's a slow build right now. For instance, last week, not this past weekend, the weekend before that, Greg and I, my husband, we walked to the farmer's market, and on the way home, we were going to stop at Coach's for some wings. And it was on a Sunday, of course, and I thought for sure they'd be open. Slow start for them. They're not open on Sundays. So
Right.
back open on the Mondays, where 2 years ago, they would have been open 7 days a week. So I think it is a slow start, but it's a start that every business in town really needs.
So on the side of things, okay, from the counselor side of your career, you've seen the growth come from that end, from the business end, and the different initiatives. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But as far as being a parent and you growing up in the community, and then your kids growing up in the community, what do you see as far as maybe more opportunities for the kids these days than there was at your time? Obviously it's different, but there's really a lot more to do.
There's a lot more to do with the opening of our Morinville Leisure Center. That was a couple years ago. And we're the only facility within our area that actually have a field house. So it's not just for those kids who are playing hockey, it's the basketball, the volleyball, for adults, seniors who want to play the pickleball. There's a running track. That's the kind of stuff that we didn't have growing up, where that opportunity is here. So in saying that, there's also opportunity for employment. So that's the other aspect of things, where when the community grows, businesses come to town, no matter what they are, the kids actually have a better chance of getting employment than we did growing up, because again, we didn't have that many opportunities. The businesses were not here like they are today, and they just keep coming more and more with the opening of Boston Pizza. For instance, my son, his dad opened up, him and his partners opened up Flow Point in Morinville. Huge company. They're, I think, are 75 to 90 people right now, and a huge portion of those are people who actually live in Morinville. So that's in the industrial park. It's not just them. How many other businesses have come to town to employ
Right.
local people? That you couldn't ask for a better community, to have both sides of the coin, live here and work here.
And when people would always ask me where I grew up, that is a line that I used all the time, is you get both sides of it. If we wanted to go to the city for whatever it was, an Oilers game, an Elks game, whatever it was, or you just want to come home and sit on your deck and it's quiet outside, you have that too. The benefits are on both ends.
You bet. Or sit on your deck and talk to your neighbors over the fence, because that's just what Morinville's people do. That's what our residents do. You put your, like Wilson on Tim the Toolman Taylor, you put your hands on the fence, and that's what you do. Your neighbors are plentiful, just like the opportunities in Morinville as well.
For sure. And the other thing that I noticed too, obviously my parents grew up in Morinville as well. And so it was a lot of, the same families for generations at that point. And then after, with them, there was new families starting to move into the community. I felt that the new people that would come into the community would be welcomed in very quickly, a lot through the school system, but they just kind of became Morinville families. And you can know long-term Morinville families when you see them on the street. They take pride in the town.
Yeah. And so do the new ones. And you're exactly right. I think that some of that, I don't want to say culture, but it is a little bit living in Morinville. Like I said earlier, you get to talk to everybody. Your trips to the grocery stores are not 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And I think that is why people actually live in Morinville. That is why we have new residents coming. It's because someone tells someone else how great it is, how wonderful everybody is, how welcoming our community is. So it's almost like a ripple effect. You get one new family who tells someone else, and hopefully they bring in someone else.
So I'm going to ask you about the future on two different sides of things.
Sure. Break
out your crystal ball. How is the rest of the summer looking in Morinville?
Hopefully hot.
Well, this weekend we're getting into the 30s, so it's going to be.
It's going to be a huge barbecue weekend. Yep. Crystal ball. Let's see. Morinville this summer, we have July 1st. We have fireworks this year, which will be fantastic. The fire department is putting that on for us. The splash park in Morinville, unfortunately, don't know how long it's going to be open. The reason being is council actually approved a brand new splash park that has to go in this year because it was free funding from the province.
Where's the location on that?
It's right behind the Ray McDonald Arena.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right.
Right. So it's going to keep it open as long as we possibly can. And unfortunately, when that closes, the highlight of it is in summer 2022, it's going to be a brand new splash park. So
short-term pain, long-term gain.
100%. So go buy some slip and slides right now for your backyard for when that closes, and some sprinklers to keep your kids active.
That's right. And so long-term also, with the growth of Morinville, we've seen it go at quite a pace. I believe now my numbers might be off here, but when I graduated in 2005, I think we were about 6,700 people, somewhere around that mark. Now you say we're over 10.
We're over 10,000. Correct.
Almost doubling in size in just 15 years, 16 years.
Population explosion in Morinville. And like you said, I think it's the fact that we are 10 minutes to St. Albert, 30 minutes to the west end of Edmonton, yet you still have that small town feel while you're here.
So it's got to be interesting for you guys as a council to be looking at things, and you really have to play with the fact that you could be planning for much more of a population than you have right now.
For sure. There's pros and cons of that. The pros would be a bigger tax base, which is great for our residents. Con of that would be more infrastructure. So it does cost the community for infrastructure to place some of the lines, the roads, the maintenance of it after, the parks after. That does come at a cost. Becoming a city, this council threw some ideas around. We got a lot of information coming at us, but it's not our decision. It is something that needs to be really thought out. So this will be the next council, which would be the council that's elected this October, for them to take a look at. And again, there's some pros and cons, big ticket items for RCMP, for instance, that we would have to fund on our own. So do you want to put that against your community right now? Because the tax base for that has to come from somewhere. So big decisions. And again, like I said, a long thought process. So
let's just think about I like to say a regular Saturday night in Morinville. What does that look like? I could tell many stories of Saturday nights in Morinville, and I know that you can too. But as far as general, what is it like on a nice summer Saturday night in Morinville? Describe it to the folks who maybe have never experienced one.
So a nice Saturday night could be you get up in the morning, hypothetically, you spend some time in your yard, cut the grass, you take your family down to a local restaurant. Then you could go to a park, you'd go to the fish and game pond, which we just had restocked with trout, do some fishing down there. And then you could walk right downtown and get some ice cream. Go for a Slurpee. A fire in your fire pit in the backyard. There's driveway fires right now that you can have with your neighbors right in front of your garage door. Depends. The possibilities are unlimited for this community. Going for a walk on the trails. Like I said, you could do anything from fishing to walking, to going for ice cream, to going, whether it's Boston Pizza or it's Coach's or it's the Bistro on Main Street or Higher Grounds for a coffee. Possibilities are unlimited.
It's a wonderful place to grow up. It's a wonderful place to own a home. Many, if not almost all of my friends still live there with their families. It's a multi-generational community. It's a wonderful place. Nicole, a part of that is the great work that you and your council have done. So thank you so much for putting your name forward and helping your community, and for joining me today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin. And I'm waiting to see you possibly be one of our neighbors here in Morinville.
We'll have to wait and see. That's Nicole Boutestein, city or town councilor, maybe city councilor soon, who knows, with the town of Morinville. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.